It's past time to expose the Democrats and Republicans for usurping liberty and freedom. What you are about to hear is the amalgam of passion and truth. This is the Southern Liberty Radio Show. Good evening, Liberty Defenders of the world. Welcome to this episode of Southern Liberty. I am your host. I'm your host with the most, Mr. Roderick Threes. And we got some things to talk about. We seriously do. Because the way these people are acting, it's not only is it un-American, it's anti-American. You can be both at the same time. You can be anti-American, right? Because you have to have America to be against it, right? You can be also un-American, going against the ideal. So you can be both. I mean, let's sum it up. It's what it is. They're bigots. Call them who they are. Hopefully you had a great week. Make sure you guys go check out torturelibertymedia.com. Make sure you guys go check out the Ninth Amendment Project. I greatly appreciate it. I got a glare on my screen here that I don't like. So we're going to eliminate said glare. Just like that. We in there like swimwear. We in there like swimwear, y'all. Y'all mean. Anyway, make sure you go check out torturelibertymedia.com. Make sure you also check out Ninth Amendment Project.org. Make sure you do all the things. Yes, I mean, another one of these short evenings because, there's not much to talk about and everything is ad nauseum and, that whole thing. We're trying to streamline this sucker, right? So you can get all the pertinent information you want and not have to stay up so late at night. See, we're being mindful of people's times. So I appreciate it. There's a term, right, in law that the technocrats and the bureaucrats, especially the ones in Richmond and DC, hope you never learn. And it's called void ab initio. It's Latin for void from the beginning. It means the act never had a legal post. It was a ghost, a lie. And this evening, we're going to perform the autopsy. We're going to slice it up on a government that has been trying to animate the corpse of past, the ones that we fought to tamp down during the Civil War, right? And I will say we tamped them down, but it just seems like the same people, right, are at it again. I mean, y'all have heard the saying, the South will rise again, but we didn't expect the South to rise like this, right? I'm going to show you exactly this evening how a judge in Tazewell County, Virginia, drove a stake through the heart of a $93 million heist. Now, I called it what it was. After reading all the information, all that good stuff. Yeah. It's what it is. We're going to call the spade for what it is, right? But before we get there, we still have to talk about the Virginia thing is big, but I think the SPLC thing is a bit bigger. And we're going to examine that too with a fine-tooth comb and an X-Acto knife. No stitches. After the fact, that corpse is going to lay open to rot because it needs to. Right? But remember, on Tuesday, right, the federal grand jury brought back an indictment, right, of them peoples Let me see if I can get it on screen for you guys here real quick. Um, let's see if we can get it to pull up. I know I can get it up. I just have to get there. Just got to get there, people. We're gonna get it on screen just so y'all can see the darn thing. Let's add it. Let's add it in there. Booyah! I don't know why my ugly mug is not up there, but that's okay too. There we are. Now I'm on the screen. Haha! I'm on the screen there with y'all. Um, well, we're talking about this. Make it a little bit bigger so y'all can see what we're going to be pointing out here. This is the actual indictment. And we're going to there's a few things in there I need to point out, right? That not many people are actually talking about, right? Um, but these people, these vile people at the Southern Poverty Law Center, right? For 40 plus years, 50 years, well, let's just say over 50 years, right? They've used let me see if I should pull it up. Yeah, I'm gonna pull the site up for y'all so y'all can see it. SPLC. Yeah, let's share this tab instead. Let's share this one instead. This one is better. So they have this thing. Hope y'all seeing it in real time. Want to call it this hate map. This is the thing they've used over the years, to stoke fear. They've used it, right? They've used it as a well. Let's go back before I say this. Before I know what I want to say, but I need to clarify, right? We've talked about this on this show ad nauseum, right? That racism is a tool for statists to wield more power and to also silence and shield themselves, right? Silence others and shield themselves from any false information, right? This is what racists do. This is what racism does, right? And mind you, they use that map you're seeing. I'm on this side. That map you're seeing right there on the other side of me, right? They used it as a administrative shield to liquidate dissent. I hope that makes sense. Okay. But per the indictment, there's hella receipts. There's 9 years of receipts, $3 million in donor funds to individuals associated with the Triple K and the American Nazi Party. Yeah, they're from the Nazis too. The FBI calls it wire fraud and money laundering. I call it the business of profitable discord, right? Because we always said, right? We say just on the face, racism pays, right? And those of us on social media, especially TikTok, we see it. We see these people that are like full blown racist and xenophobes, and they have all the following in there. People donating to them. I mean, it's more. It's a disease. It's a cancer, right? It's a cancer, right? Um it's not even epidemic anymore. It's past epidemic at this point. What is past epidemic? Endemic. It's endemic now, right? Because the way these people and granted, y'all remember this is a small pocket of people, but at the same time, when you see it day in and day out, how disgusting these people are, it pays. Racism pays. How you think Al Sharpton got rich? How do you think the Ben Crump attorney gets rich? They get rich off of racism. You've heard me call them before, race pimps and poverty hustlers. This is what these people are. This is what they do. SPLC was just the organization that created the instance for these people to be to be race pimps and poverty hustlers, right? I mean, I want to look at it this way, right? Those, and I'm gonna put this in kind of very layman, right? They were paying arsonists to keep the fire going so they could keep the donor checks rolling in, right? I mean, let's think about this. The SPLC was so trusted that the FBI even used their material to label traditional Catholics as violent extremists. So think about that a second. They literally manufactured the threat to justify the shackle. But I want to go through. I gotta go in and go through. We're gonna go through this. We're gonna go through. I'm gonna point out a couple things in here. Right, it's pretty disturbing. I'm gonna move myself over here and make myself a little bit smaller so you can still see my face. I'm still here. I'm still here. But I want to go through this because this is what we're about to read is quite disgusting. We know that we know this part. This is the talking points that we've heard through all of this, right? They paid field sources, et cetera, right? Here's what else that was never not even thrown out and mentioned, right? SPLC also had a field source who was a member of an online leadership chat group that planned the 2017 Unite the Right event in Charlottesville. You know, when they try to say, "Oh, Trump is upholding Nazis," when he said, there are good, fine people on both sides of the debate. Yeah, SPLC had a field source that was funded, right, for this rally, right? But that's not even the half of it, right? Look at what else they did. They, in order to pay their sources, right? You see it right here. In order to pay their sources, right? They open bank accounts connected. They say fictitious entities, shell corporations, right? They open bank accounts under shell corp names, basically, right? I mean, this is crazy, but let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. See, we've seen on their website, right? SPLC is a catalyst for racial justice in the South and beyond, working in partnership with communities. Blah blah blah. Yeah, right. Bullshit. We know that's bullshit. I want to get to the meat and potatoes, though. What we actually came here for, right? I want to get down here. No, we ain't worried about that. Here we go. The SPLC's paid informant network, the Fs or the field operatives, right? Since the 80s. See, people missing this part. Starting in the 1980s, the SPLC, right, began operating a covert network of informants who were either associated with violent extremist groups like the Ku Klux Klan, who had infiltrated violent extremist groups at the SPLC's direction. These informants are referred to by some individuals within the SPLC as the field sources or the FSs. All right. Let's keep going. At least from 2014 to 2023, they paid their field sources in a clandestine manner. Doing so hid the fact while the SPLC received donation money under the auspices, the funds were being used to dismantle violent extremist group. This donation money was instead being used in part by the SPLC to pay leaders of and others within the same violent extremist groups. Now, we talked about the 3 million, but here's where it gets kind of. Here's the breakdown. I should say it's weird, but let's get into the breakdown of this whole thing. Okay, F-37, right? F-37, right? And remember, F-37. That's the code name, right? Because he's one. I want people to understand. You're not going to see people's names in this. right? Because they became whistleblowers, right? They became whistleblowers. They, that obviously their identity is going to be protected at this point, right? So F-37 was a member of the online leadership group chat that planned the 2016 United Right in Charlottesville and attended the event at the discretion of the SPLC. F-37 made racist postings under the supervision of the SPLC and helped coordinate transportation to the event for several attendees. Between 2015 and 2023, the SPLC secretly paid, remember, this is just recently, 2023, paid F-37 more than $270,000 over an 8-year span. It gets better. It gets better. It gets a lot better. F9 was affiliated with the neo-Nazi organization, the National Alliance, and served as a field agent for the SPLC for more than 20 years. F9's activities included fundraising for the National Alliance. Between 2014 and 2023, the SPLC secretly paid F9 more than $1 million. In 2014, F9 entered the headquarters of a violent extremist group and stole 25 boxes of their documents. F9 coordinated payment for the copying of the materials with a high-level SPLC employee who had knowledge that documents had been stolen. That doesn't no, that's not a crime. No, not at all. That's not a crime. No. The original stolen materials were returned to the violent extremist group in a second illegal entry by F9. So they directed F9 to go break into a building, steal the documents, bring them back to another employee. They copied them, and then he had to break in a second time. So you got 2 B&Es, theft. Oh my God. Oh, man. Thereafter, the high-level SPLC employee utilized the documents in part as a basis for a story published on SPLC's Hate Watch website and authored by the employee. And I'm sure that has been taken down. I'm sure. Another F-39, was blamed for the theft and was paid approximately $6,000 by the SPLC to falsely take responsibility for the theft. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. We're gonna pay you $6,000 to have you absolve yourself of your freedom, so we can get by. Good God! I'm telling you, this shit did. Lord have mercy. F unknown was the imperial wizard of the United Clans of America. In an article published on November 22nd, 2013, the SPLC described the group as a millennial reboot of what was once a serious domestic threat. In its prime, the United Clans of America was responsible for, among other things, the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing in Alabama, which resulted in the death of those 4 little girls in '63. Those of y'all remember civil rights history. That, yeah, you see that just like I do. Y'all see it just like I do on that screen. Yep. F-27 was reported as an officer in the National Socialist Movement and the Aryan Nations affiliated Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club. Ooh. Wow. They went for the worst of the worst on this one. Jesus Christ. Between 2014 and 2020, the SPLC secretly paid F-27 more than $300,000. F-42 was the former chairman of the National Alliance, which is the neo-Nazi organization, right? The SPLC website contained an extremist file webpage about F-42, which the SPLC solicited donations. Between 2016 and 2023, the SPLC secretly paid F-42 more than $140,000. This overlapped the time period in which F-42 was featured on SPLC's extremist file webpage. Wow. So we deem you as a threat, right? Let's get this right. Let's get this right. We deemed him as a threat. Then we grifted donations off of him and then paid him for allowing us to grift off of him. Oh my God. I mean, this shit gets crazier. This shit gets crazy. Before we continue, though, make sure y'all liking and subscribing and all this good stuff as we're going through this good stuff we got going on here. This is crazy. This is crazy, man. F30, that the National Socialist Party of America was a former direct. Oh, look, watch this. Look. This is why they didn't want us reading this. The libs, right, and all them. They didn't want us reading this indictment. Let me make it big so y'all can see what I'm looking at too. Right? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. F30, that the National Socialist Party of America. He was also the former director of a faction of the Aryan Nation, former member of the Ku Klux Klan. The SPLC website contained an extremist file webpage for F30 from which the SPLC solicited donations. Between 2014 and 2016, they secretly paid F30 more than $70,000. And this also overlapped the time period in which F30 was featured on SPLC's extremist file webpage. I don't want to listen, y'all. I don't want to hear another. I don't want to hear another Democrat. I don't want to hear another communist. I don't want to hear another socialist talk about the white supremacy, right? White supremacy is all the Ku Klux Klan and Aryan Nation. They're all on the right. Y'all hear what I'm telling you? Because y'all have heard me say before, right? That communism, socialism is just rebranded white supremacy. And people try to distance themselves from that. But majority of the people that are in these National Socialists of America, Democrat Socialists of America, they are full blown, I might as well call it a spade, white supremacists. They just they sweet talk you while they hide their intention from you. I mean, because theoretically, Aryan Nation, Ku Klux Klan, the way the other team plays it, right, is like the Proud Boys, right, and they end with Trump. But obviously, no, it literally blows their whole narrative apart. This. Don't want to hear another one say, "Oh no." F43 was the reported national president of American Front and a convicted federal felon for his participation in a cross burning. Between 16 and 19, they paid him $19,000. F Unknown was a member of the Ku Klux Klan and married to an exalted Cyclops. Right, that was Robert Byrd's rank, exalted Cyclops. Right, remember Robert Byrd? You know, the infamous senator that everybody brings up, that just Joe Biden's mentor. Yeah, this is apparently a she, was married to an exalted because the Ku Klux Klan does not have women in leadership, right? We know that. We know how these people work, right? So F Unknown and their spouse were involved in litigation whereby the Ku Klux Klan applied to take a part in adopt a highway program. During the course of the litigation, known payments were traced from the SPLC to Unknown, which exceeded $3,500. So they were paying their lawyer fees. SPLC was paying these people's lawyers' fees. Jeez, man. This makes me sick. This makes me so sick. And then, in addition, directly paying leaders and others associated with the same violent extremist groups that the SPLC sought donations ostensibly to dismantle, the SPLC also used field agents to indirectly funnel money to other violent extremist group leaders. This included the SPLC funding more than $160,000 to a fictitious entity, to F11, who then sent funds to various violent extremist group leaders, including the former Grand Wizard of the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. Man. So, talking about, watch this. Here's the scam, right? Here's the scam, right? They're fictitious entities, right? So, they secretly funded, donated money to the field agents and individuals at SPLC, including person who would become the chief financial officer of the SPLC, and a person who would become the director of the intelligence project. Among others, opened a series of bank accounts at Bank One and Bank Two in the name of various fictitious entities, including but not limited to Central Investigative Agency, Fox Photography, Northwest Technologies, Tech Writers Group, Rare Books Warehouse. These fictitious entities were never incorporated and had no bona fide employees and conducted no actual business. So at the time of this indictment, banks one and two were insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. This is crazy. I'm not gonna go over the charges because that's meaningless at this point. But this is just absolutely nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And actually, Michelle, yes, he was. He was actually with her 100%. It's this is Here's what's even crazier. Let me see if I can share this one here. Mm, Let me see if it'll let me. It's hard out here for those pimps. I want to see who the. I want to get to where the. Hold on. Let me share this tab because I'm gonna have y'all just look with me as I'm here. I'm just gonna have y'all look with me as I'm looking for, right. This is, if I remember correctly, this is the president of the Southern Poverty Law Center. This is the president. I want to make sure that's correct because I don't need them coming after me. Ooh. Um see, where would I find their leadership? It's probably no ways to give. Look at ways to give. No, I want to see your leadership. I want to see who your leadership is. But see, that's the president. President, melanated man. We're dismantling white supremacy, and it's kind of ironic. See. I hate being this guy, but I got to be this guy, y'all. I got to be this guy. I got to be this guy. You're dismantling white supremacy. Some guys on horses, right? But then you're putting the Muslim on strengthening democracy and voting rights, right? Now, watch this. Watch this. Eliminating poverty and economic inequality, and you have a melanated man sitting there. Did I miss the memo? Did I miss the memo? And then the ending unjust imprisonment. The scales. Yeah, okay, the scales. Yeah, that's a non sequitur. Um, I just these people are confusing. I'm trying to find their leadership. And look, empowering voters in the South. That's the only thing. They only want to empower the voters in the South. White supremacy is that bad. We're only promoting empowering voters in the South. Oh my God. Ugh. These people, look, I got some sort of exhaustion. I don't know what that is, but I got some of that going on. This is just crazy. This is literally nuts. But that's what that is. That's what that is. I wanted to go into that just so everybody knew the magnitude of this case. Now, question yourself: are they going to get off on it or not? Right? I mean, I want to see. I'm tired, and I'm with all of you. I'm tired of all this stuff being brought up and nobody being shackled from ankle to wrist. I'm tired of, oh, we got all this going on. Nah, I'm tired. I am tired of the BS. Oh, we're going to do all these indictments and we're going to hold some people accountable. They're not held accountable until I see until I see that cell door close. Clank. You can put them in shackles. You can, I mean, seeing them being walking ankle to wrist shackles will tickle my fancy. But it ain't moving the needle at the end of the day, right? It ain't moving the needle, right? I need to see people go down, like downtown. Like you're done. Your goose is cooked, all of them. Especially when it comes to the Southern Poverty Law Center, right? And I think I speak for all Americans that are not, racist or xenophobic, right? But because you're of a particular class of people, particular group of people, you're deemed these things, and the psychological, right, impact it's had on you, right, on some people. Some people, like, look, some of my lightly melanated friends, you know, aka we'll call them white people, have literally just like they've turned their backs on everybody because it's like, no, because if I do something, I'm racist. If I do this, I'm xenophobic. If I do something, no, fuck them. I don't have to associate with them. I don't have to associate with nobody. And I'm like, that's not healthy, but I get your sentiment. I understand where you're coming from. People are tired. People are tired. And this is where the class action lawsuit comes into play. Because even the government used them again. You read it. The government used them to gaslight us into something that on the top 10 things that Americans need to worry about, racism's on the bottom 10. And this is out of 100. It's on the bottom 10. Right? But they use race to expand the state, right? The enforcement arm of the state. Right? This is just it's gone too far, and it's gone long enough. Remember, guys, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Share it on your social media. All of that good stuff. All of it. I'm trying to find. There we go. I found it. My mama told me I never shop around shop. I'm trying to get. Oh yeah, here we go. The fraud. The fraud, the fraud, the fraud, the fraud, the fraud. Yes. So here we go. We're gonna go here a second. So this is where we're at. This is from the Arlington, Virginia Democrats, right? And this is kind of the start of the whole thing. And as you look at this, well, and we'll come back to the wording of this, right? But I want people, I want folks take what these Democrats are saying with a grain of salt, right? Because Virginia, in the matter of a month, they're already halfway. They've already uh, dissolved the sovereignty of the people of Virginia by joining that national voter interstate compact. They just abolished the sovereignty of the people of their state. I mean, Virginia. Why even vote, Virginia? Why even vote? Because the legislature says nope. Let's really think about this a minute, right? It's bad enough that the political parties control the electoral votes, right? They control them because they send their electors. Now the state government, right? The state government, and I guarantee this is going to be one of the lawsuits. The state government is violating the First Amendment of both political parties, right? Because the state is ordering this party to certify the election, send the electors from that party. They are controlling the parties, right? I want y'all to think about that a second. What this national voter interstate compact, whatever it's called, the whole thing, right? This is a way the state legislatures control the political parties. I mean, at this point, why even have the political parties? I mean, let's think on the other side of this, right? We've all talked about getting rid of the two-party system. I think this is the perfect time to get rid of it. I think it's the perfect time to get rid of it because it's not going to matter, right? If the other states join on and they get to 270, political parties are not going to matter. So why even have them? Made a best man win, right? I mean, at that point, that's what they're asking for, right? I'm just putting that out there, right? But here's what's even crazy: Virginia Democrats spent $93 million of untraceable dark money to convince voters to hand the redistricting power back to the politicians. I want you again, right? This goes in conjunction with the National Voter Compact bullshit, right? Now that they control, right? Now that they're with that, when it triggers, they control the political parties. Now the redistricting goes to those same politicians that are part of those parties. This is crazy. This is ultimately crazy. Like, F the people of Virginia. F the people of Virginia. You don't matter. Our political machine matters. And that was the problem with politics and government. This is what our founders was afraid of. And here we have arrived. We have arrived. We have arrived at that point. And Virginia's seeing it firsthand with Mayonnaise Mandy and her minions, right? I mean, literally, if y'all seen the map, right? Literally, right? They're saying they're restoring fairness on the ballot. And that's how they framed it when people went to vote. Right? And we saw the map. It turned a 6-5 Republican split into a 10-1 Democrat fortress. Is what it did. Right? Here's the other part. The General Assembly, right, actually sneaked the first vote of this through in a 17-month special session that was only meant for the budget. I think y'all heard me mention that in passing, right? And I figured I needed to come and expand on that a little bit more here, right? When a state calls a special session, right? Only that special session is only for that particular thing. Let's say it's the budget in this case, right? Like we just did here in Florida. We just called a special session for the budget. The only person that can change the subject matter of a special session is the governor, right? Because it's the governor that says, hey, you need to come back and do this, right? Only the governor can change it, right? And at the time this was passed, it wasn't Abigail Spanberger, it was Glenn Youngkin. It was Glenn Youngkin. right? And he didn't change the point of the special session. No, 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 no. And it led to one injunction. Virginia Supreme Court said, no, you know what? We're gonna trump your injunction, and we're gonna let the people vote on it, and then we'll decide if it's unconstitutional. What? Okay. And then the votes come through. And now you had the judge, Mr. Judge Jack Turley, down in Tazewell County, which is down in Southwest Virginia, right? Just north of Abingdon. Those of you that are familiar with Virginia, um, he issued a permanent injunction. He ruled the entire referendum void ab initio. Remember I mentioned that and described what that was. That's where that comes from. It's kind of slick out there. That all right. He found right in his ruling, when y'all go read it, that he found that it was flagrantly misleading and violated the 90-day public notice requirement. Right? Now, I don't know about the other counties in Virginia. I mean, I know Appomattox County, Lynch County, all your southwestern counties. The Constitution still has a guardian. I'm glad. But now the Supreme Court Monday, Virginia Supreme Court Monday is going to start hearing arguments to overturn this injunction. Well, I tell you, these Democrats will try anything. They will try anything. But I want you to show you guys what the Arlington, Virginia Democrats, Arlington County, right, which is where up in that corner up there, right next to Falls Church and all that. That's kind of where Arlington is up there, right? If you're familiar with Northern Virginia, they put out this ad. I'm not going to play the ad because it's effing absurd. It's absurd, right? But what they did, right? Look at you probably can't see it. I need to probably make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. MAGA controlled states at Trump's demand are taking the unprecedented step of redrawing new congressional maps to rig the midterm elections. Virginians face a real risk of having our voices diminished. If we do nothing, a minority of voters could elect the majority of the U.S. House. Free and fair elections are under threat. The amendment gives voters, not politicians, the final say to pay the labor. We just read it. It's bold-faced lie. Bold-faced lie. This amendment gives voters, not politicians, the final say. When you just sat right here and said, hey, this amendment, we want the politicians to draw the maps, not our bipartisan civilian group. Straight up lied. Straight up lied. And I wish our voters are more of our voters became, more involved so they can see and read and understand these things, right? They'll come down here too, right? MAGA is trying to rig elections. Hey, Democrats, newsflash for you. MAGA doesn't control the Republican Party. America First has more influence in the Republican Party than MAGA. And guess who's creeping in there? The establishment is creeping in to dismantle MAGA. So you Democrats don't really know what you're talking about. You're trying to throw shit on the wall because you fearmongered MAGA. MAGA's not even is a minority in the Republican Party. Because I want people to remember, the establishment, big money establishment, is still funding the Republican Party. Have y'all seen the national committee people for the RNC? Most of them are from big money and they're not MAGA. Shouldn't have to tell these folks that. But they don't do their research. Their voters don't do any research, right? They just go, oh, they got my best interest in mind. Woohoo. No, they don't. They got your vote in mind. Only thing they got in mind is your vote, and you're stupid enough to fall for the banana in the tailpipe. And it's propaganda like this from the Arlington Democrats that do this, right? Look how they pose the question. Look how they pose the question on the ballot. I don't know if y'all could actually see it. Let me make it a little bit bigger so y'all can see it. There we go. Should the Constitution of Virginia be amended? Remember, this was going to be a constitutional amendment, right? Because it's already invalid, right? If you just, y'all know, some of you have been to my like constitutional classes and touched on how to, write amendments, things of that nature, so the wording is clear, right? Look at this question. Should the Constitution of Virginia be amended to allow the General Assembly to temporarily adopt new congressional districts to restore fairness in upcoming elections while ensuring Virginia's standard redistricting process resumes for all future redistricting after the 2030 census? You can't. Let's go to the. Let's go. I want to find the ballot. Oh, that is the ballot question. Here, let me switch to this one. Let me switch to this tab here. So this is the Virginia Department of Elections. Let me see if I can make it big enough so you guys can see it. See the bullshit. Make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Perfect. I'm gonna make myself a little bit smaller here on the screen so you guys can see it. So the ballot question: should the Constitution of Virginia be amended to allow the General Assembly to temporarily adopt new congressional districts to restore fairness in the upcoming elections, while ensuring that Virginia's standard redistricting process resumes for all future redistricting after the 2030 census? And I'm going to explain that in a second, right? Um, so let's go here. Here's the explanation they had for voters. Here's the explanation they had for voters here. Here we go. So here's the explanation. Present law. Virginia's 11 congressional districts are drawn once every 10 years by the Virginia Redistricting Commission, a legislative body made up of 8 legislators and 8 citizens, with the equal number of Republicans and Democrats. Virginia's congressional districts were redrawn in 2021 and redrawn in 2031. Proposed law. The proposed amendment would give the General Assembly the authority to redraw one or more of Virginia's congressional districts before 2031 in limited circumstances. In the event that another state redraws its own congressional districts before 2031 without being ordered by a court to do so, the General Assembly would then be able to redraw Virginia's congressional districts. The General Assembly's power to do so would continue until October 31st, 2030, and the Virginia Redistricting Commission will resume the responsibility of redrawing congressional maps, congressional districts in 2031. Wow, that to the normie voter, right? That to the normal voter is garbage. What do they mean, right? I want to explain something else too while we're here, right? You can't write a constitutional amendment, right? Giving the government power, right? Without what? This is Constitution 101. You can't write the repeal or the abolishment of said amendment in the same amendment you're proposing. You cannot write that. That's dead on arrival in itself. You have to write another amendment to abolish that. This. This is insane. This is insane. This is insane. These people, I tell you, they'll do anything to take your joy away from you. But last and not least, we have to go to the city of Philadelphia. I'm about to put you on game on what the heck they're doing. Oh, that's the wrong dang thing. Hold on. Here we go. I just share this one instead. Why not? Back to the screen. So, in the state of Philadelphia, I don't want that to play. I don't need any of that to play. In the state of Philadelphia, people, the mayor is actually proposing a $1 per ride tax on Ubers and Lyfts. So we got Virginia stealing your votes, right? Now they're taxing your movement in Philadelphia, right? Because the current mayor is facing I think it's $300 million deficit. So she's proposing a $1 per ride tax on Ubers and Lyfts. She calls it for the children. We know what they do when they say for the children. They create learning centers and all. Anyway, my bad. I didn't mean to go there, but you get the point, right? I call it a toll booth, right? Watch this. I'm gonna throw. I got to throw this in there. I call it a toll booth on your Ninth Amendment right to movement and economic liberty, right? This is ironclad textbook administrative state treating the sovereign individual in Philadelphia or anybody that travels there as an emergency fund, right? And again, I looked, right? I looked at their budgets over the last 10 years. They don't audit their bloated budgets, right? They just bolt a new shackle onto the gig worker and the commuter, right? And when the government can tax your basic transportation to cover their debt, they are literally signaling that they own the house and you are just a tenant. And this even brings me back. I posted it on Facebook a little while ago, and the crazy comments started coming in. I had to hide the post because it was just I couldn't keep up and it was getting out of hand, right? But one particular person, I'm Kofefe, Democrat on my page, was saying, well, they got to justify their budget elsewhere. I'm like, look, if the agent, this is exactly what I wrote. If the agent in the city hall is caught mismanaging $30 million, the owner, which is us, has the right to deny the request for more, don't we? Right? Because we don't fix these issues with budgets by being a doormat to these people. I don't care if Democrat, Republican, or whatever. The administrative state, period. We can't fix the problem if we continue laying down and being doormats. So I want my people in Philadelphia march their ass down to City Hall. Just like y'all out in the streets when the so-called police was doing all these things to people and taking lives. Well, guess what? They're taxing y'all $1 per ride in Philadelphia, which is going to pass through from the driver to the consumer, right? You should be more up in arms of that than a police officer unaliving somebody you may or may not know. You would rather go protest, right? And I get it, right? You'll go protest that the police stole the life of somebody, but the government turn on the other hand is got their hand in your hip pocket and you ain't knocking their hand off of it. And then since you ain't knocking your hand off it, we're gonna take more. Then we're gonna mismanage it. And then what they gonna do? Oh, they come back and beg you for more. Actually, no, they won't beg you for more. They will mandate you give them more. So what's really important? Pookie that died on the street corner? Or your family getting poor and having to go to the street to be the dope boy to get shot at by the police. See how this cycle works? I don't think they're ready for that, y'all. They ain't not ready for that. Or better yet, they have their hands out to the government. Oh no, I need the food stamps because my city took all my money from me. No, oh wait, oh I can't buy what I want. No, because you're using our taxpayer money to do it. You can only buy this, this, and this, and this. Government still in your pocket. Hmm? These people ain't learned though. These people ain't gonna learn nothing. This is crazy. A $1 tax per ride, flat out. That's crazy. Anyway, look, need to pull up out of here. I've kept y'all long enough. I appreciate y'all this evening. All that good stuff. And I'm gonna leave with this. Because it ain't the right wing that's got caught with the pants down. It's always been the left wing. It's always got caught with the pants down around the ankles. Mm, in the stall in a stall in the dirty flying J. They caught with the pants down. Right. But these people that manufacture hate across the board, no matter what it is, it's always hate they manufacture. Right. They paid arsonist in Alabama, right? Then they tax your car ride in Philly, right? And they're trying to rig your political maps in Virginia. But I'm glad there are guardians of the Constitution out there. Because I want these Democrats and these people that are anti and un-American to understand the Constitution ain't a suggestion. It's the law of the land. That's it. You can't dance around it. You can't tiptoe around it. You can't do any of that. It is the law. And if you break the law, you should have something else broken. Hmm? With that being